everyone, and welcome to the Weekly Stitch 2020 edition. I'm Amy Nicole, and I'm coming to you from my studio in Nixon, Texas. It is very chilly today. I feel like I cannot warm up lately, even though it's only in the 50s here, but I'm just cold. More on that later. Today I want to talk to you guys about I want to wrap up everything that went on in 2019 with the year of slow sewing, how I'm feeling about it, all of that stuff, and then I want to talk about my plans moving forward for 2020. This may be a bit of a rambly video, so if you are not into rambling videos, then you can just move along. So the first thing, I have lots of notes. The first thing I want to talk about is 2019, how it went. I did the year of slow sewing. If you are not familiar with that, then go back to my year of slow sewing video. I'm going to link it up here somewhere. And check that out just to see what it was all about. Basically, I was focusing this year on sewing only from my stash, not making any specific sewing plans, sewing as the moment came to me, not stressing myself out about getting projects finished by a certain time, etc. Oh, taking more time to add little details to my makes, fun stuff like that. How 2019 went. First, I am going to reference my little bujo here. I made 39 garments last year, which is pretty surprising. I felt like most of the year, like I wasn't really getting anything done. I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, the year of slow sewing just means I'm not sewing because I'm not putting any pressure on myself to finish any garments, so I'm just not making very much. But I was really shocked to see that number. A lot of that is bras and undies, which are small and quick projects, so those really upped the number. I did not include in that number, this is just garments, so like I made it some cushion covers and stuff like that. I did not include that in that number. I did include stuff that I made for other people, so I did make some stuff for like the restyling exchange, some gifts, stuff like that. Those are still included, but I would say that's a pretty dang productive year of sewing. That's like more than one. Is it more than two? I'm not good at math, y'all. That's more than 2 things a month, which is insane to me. I really did not feel like I was sewing that much. So this was my first year actually keeping track of the things I made. Usually I'm just like, oh, I can figure it out through my blog post, but I don't blog everything I make, and a lot of times I'll make something one year and it doesn't get blogged until the next year. So I wanted to keep track to see what I was actually making, which was really fun. Definitely going to do that again next year. I'm very impressed with myself. It makes me feel very accomplished. And almost all of that, I say almost because there are some things that I made for other people that I ended up buying fabric for one reason or another, but all of it was from my stash, which is crazy. Also crazy because I don't feel like my stash is any smaller, which is a little sad. Not sad in like a poor me way, sad in like a you're crazy and you have too much fabric way. So that's a good lesson learned. Also, like I said, a lot of that, I did a lot of batch sewing of bras and undies, which take up like no fabric at all. So that is a point to be made there. Also, I tracked fabric that I would have bought had I not been on a fabric buying ban. So I don't feel like I'm one of those people who like buys a lot of fabric, but since I do try to focus on buying secondhand and vintage fabric, I feel like I have to jump on those because it's not like I can just get them anytime. Like when you find this amazing fabric and it's secondhand, you have to just get it because when else are you going to get it? So most of these on this list are from either a Thrifty Notion or Well Fiber, which are two vintage secondhand fabric shops that I love. Again, I'll link all of this below. Actually, every single thing on here is a eco-friendly fabric source. So that's good. What it tells me is that the general fabric buying options in my periphery, I don't know if that's the right word, in my orbit are good for the environment or better for the environment, which is promising going forward. The total cost of what I would have saved, or what I would have spent, what I saved, I guess you could say, this is not including shipping and tax. This is just the cost of the fabric, $194.92. That is crazy. And if you add shipping into that, I'm sure it would be like at least $225, if not more. That also I saved. Oh, I didn't add the yardage that I would have bought. Let's see. 20 yards of fabric that I would have bought, that would have added to my stash, that I would not have necessarily had plans for, which is, you know, a learning lesson. I don't even, like, without looking at this, I don't even remember what's on here. So there's nothing really that I'm like still thinking about wishing I would have been able to buy, which is another good lesson for me. Because in the moment it seems like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. I can't let it go. But then at the end of the year, I don't even remember what is on here. Looking at it now, I can see some things that I kind of remember, but I don't really, the only thing that really sticks out is the Urban Leopard Viscose Twill from D&H that I still love, and I tried to go buy a remnant of at literally the turn of the new year because she had some in her remnant sale and it was already gone. Pooh. And this red rib knit from Well Fiber because I've been wanting to make some rib knit Keela tanks. So those are the only two things that I see on here that I even remember what in the heck they even were. So this is a lesson for me, but also a lesson for everyone. If you see it and you feel like you have to have it, maybe you don't have to have it. Maybe you wouldn't even remember it in a few months. So that is what I learned in 2019. Well, that's my wrap up. Some other things that are significant that I learned are that I feel so much better when I'm not pressuring myself to sew a certain thing every month, when I don't plan out my whole year of sewing at the beginning of the year like I used to do before the year of slow sewing. It's so much less stressful and makes my sewing when I am sewing that much more enjoyable. So I'm definitely going to do that moving forward. As an over planner, that's a little hard for me, but I feel like as I get older, I'm embracing like that sort of bohemian, spontaneous creativity kind of vibe. So that is something that I really want to channel moving into 2020, which brings me to my word for 2020. I have a word every year. Last year it was like the last half of the year I thought it was calm, but I looked back at my bujo when I was making my new bujo, and I realized bujo is short for bullet journal, by the way. And I realized the word was actually passive. So calm, passive, similar. But so I wanted to kind of embrace the sitting back, slowing down in the last year. This year, my word is creative flow. Yes, that is 2 words. I don't care. That's my word. Meaning I want to I feel like sitting back and not over planning really helped me to get in touch with this more like creative, spontaneous side of myself. And I really want to channel that a little more and just like go with the creative flow. Like, move forward with what's inspiring me. Don't stress about if I plan to do something else, but now I want to do this. Let your creativity run wild and don't just follow the pattern, and add unique elements and all kinds of stuff like that. So that is what I'm thinking with creative flow. So moving into 2020, this past week, I've been thinking a lot about things that I want to sew next year, things that I want for my business, maybe my Make 9. Time out. I got this amazing thing for Christmas. I don't know if you could see it. Can you see that? It's like a little hot plate, and when I put my tea on it, it turns on and it keeps my tea warm so I don't have to microwave it 50 times a day. I'm going to link that below because it is like life-changing. And yeah, so everyone's been talking about their Make 9s, their goals, their resolutions for 2020. And in the past couple days, I've been in a little bit of a slump. Like, so this was like the first like full week of work. So we didn't really get back to working until the 2nd. So this is my first full week of work. I was feeling not ready to get back into a routine. I was feeling very unmotivated. I'm cold. I'm feeling uninspired by my winter wardrobe. I'm feeling like I'm not where I want to be in my business. I feel like I'm frustrated that we're still living in this house and we haven't moved to our new house yet. And just a lot of like, bleh, like, why am I in this state? Which is a little frustrating. And then last night I went to my Tuesday night sewing club with my local sewing friend, and we did some sewing. We're working on some Thayer jackets right now. More on that later. And I just came away from that feeling better. Not in particularly like, my thoughts aren't necessarily different. Like, I still feel like my business isn't where I want it to be because I can't work on it as much as I want to. Hopefully that changes this year. But I just felt good. And what I want to say about that is, like, sometimes you just need to sit down and sew something to snap yourself out of your crappy mood. So I felt good that happened, and I felt good that sewing helped me to get there. So that being said, let's be happy about 2020 and what is to come. The first thing I want to talk about for 2020 is what I mentioned about my fall winter wardrobe. I talked a little bit about this as we went into fall winter. I'm feeling very uninspired by my fall winter wardrobe. I feel like I don't know how to dress for cold weather, that I feel like myself and I feel comfortable. But this year I had a light bulb moment that a lot of the things I've made for fall winter are like woven button-ups and things that need to be layered. And what I've realized is I don't really care about layering. Like, I don't live in a cold enough climate that layering makes sense, but it does get cold here. But also it's like, I'm mostly just in my house, so I don't want to layer. Like, I get layering, I think it's cute, but I don't want to like put on 50 like layers just to work from home. But I'm still cold and I want to be comfortable. So this year I realized that the things that I was gravitating most towards were my toaster sweater and my Tessuti Hazelwood sweater that I made last year, because they're one layer, they're warm and cozy and comfortable, and I still look cute. So I've deduced that I need to make more knit things for winter where I could just put on a singular sweater or something, feel cute, go out. This ebony dress is a great example. I gravitated towards this a lot. It's in a double brush poly. It's very warm. It's very comfortable. So yeah, something I want to do more of is more sweaters and such, which is funny because I don't have much of that actually on this list. But I do have some. So I just want to, I'm not going to deep dive into my sewing plans for 2020 because this video will be so incredibly long. Also, I haven't narrowed down my Make 9 yet. So once I do, I'm going to do an actual video on my Make 9. So that will be coming soon, but I did want to show you guys a little bit about how I plan my, or don't plan, my sewing plans for, I'm crazy, for 2020. So this is a format I used last year. What I used to do was I would make a grid like this. There's a box for every month, and at the beginning of the year, I would pick 12 things, and I would plan which month I'm going to make each of those 12 things, and I would stick to it. And by the middle of the year, I wasn't having fun anymore because I was making something that I decided I wanted to make in January that I wasn't necessarily wanting to make at that time. So what I do now is I have these little label-sized Post-its, and I write down, each one is a project that is circling in my head right now that I've been thinking about. So some of these are pulled, these on this side are all the ones that I didn't get to last year that I'm still interested in. And then these are all new ones that have come to mind. And then as I get to the month, I'll move it to there and be like, oh, I want to work on this. And sometimes I'll move something to a month and then I'll end up working on something else. So I can cross it off while it's there. Let me see if I can show you last year's. So a lot of these, so some of these two were ones that I ended up doing and just crossed off over here because they were like extras in a month. And then some moved over. Some months I didn't do anything from the list, as you could see. So that's kind of what it ends up looking like at the end of the year. So right now I'm working on my Thayer jackets by Grain Line, so that's in January. And then as I move forward, I'll look at this list and I'll think, do I want to work on any of these next? And I'll move it over. If I want to work on something else, I'll just write it down in there. So just quickly, a few of the things that are on here left over from last year. I want to make a Tabor V-neck. That's like a sweater that will fit some of that sweater categories. I want to make some Flint pants. I want to make another Tate top. I want to make a Gabriola skirt. I'm going to link all of this below. I want to make a Magdala shirt to match my mustard Chi-Town chinos that I made this year that I still don't think I've blogged about. I have a couple refashion projects that I want to do. I really love the Hadley by Grain Line, but I love it on people, but I don't know if I would wear it because I'm like gravitating towards more cropped and high waist things for summers when I do separates, like if it's not a dress. So I guess I could do a cropped Hadley. I really love the Hadley. I want to make a peppermint play suit. I have a Mimi G pattern that I would love to make. The Wilder gown, the Adrian blouse, that Hazelwood turtleneck I've been talking about, I want to make as a dress. I want to make a Mintu tank as a dress. There's the new Simplicity 9012. I'm obsessed with it. The paper cut Axis dress I love. I would love to do it in some Spoonflower Katie Cortman fabric. And I have a wrap skirt idea that I want to paint some fabric and do. So that is that's my general list that I'll be pulling from for the year. A lot of stuff, like I said, I won't get to it, but that's okay. No pressure. Just do what feels right. That's the creative flow. I got green this year. For some reason that symbolizes like creativity to me. And that is how I plan my sewing for the year, and that is my current sewing plans. Real quick, I'll tell you what I'm working on right now. I mentioned the Thayer jacket from Greenline Studio. We're working on that in my sewing club with my friend. We're both making one, which is fun. We're kind of doing like step by step together, which is fun. It's going to be in like a railroad denim ticking, and I'm doing some really fun stuff with the lining that I can't wait to share with you guys. And that is an interesting make for me because it's mostly going to be for work, not for like going out, because I don't have a warm jacket that I can wear to and from work, but I don't care if it gets like a little beat up. It's like more of like a workwear style, which isn't my general style, but it's a good barbecue restaurant and farm jacket. So that is what that will be used for. Today I am starting on my project for the Sew Unconventional Challenge hosted by Tabitha Sewer and Lynn Wardrobe Sews. Very pumped about that. I'm using junk mail as my medium. I will be making a video about that right after this, so you'll see me again in this outfit. Don't judge me. I didn't wear the same outfit twice, which I would, so I don't know why I'm clarifying that. Yeah, so I'm really excited about the Sew Unconventional Challenge. I'll talk about this more in the actual Sew Unconventional video, but I feel like it'll be a good project to jumpstart my creativity in the new year. Hoping to get back to working on my new pattern, hoping to test that this month. I want to release 3 patterns this year and update my old patterns. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm trying not to put too much pressure on myself, but, you know, we'll see. So that's enough rambling from me today. Thank you so much for joining me and hearing all about my 2019 to 2020 transition. I would love to know how you plan your sewing goals for the new year. Do you use a bujo? Do you plan? Do you not plan? Let me know below. What do you think about my system? I'll be back with my 2020 Make 9 picks. And if you have any questions, further questions about how I do my planning, be sure to leave those in the comments below as well. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you don't hate rambling. And be sure to hit that little bell thing so that you get notifications every time I post a new video. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for following me on this journey. Thanks for being patient with me as I've been like blah over the holidays. And happy sewing. Bye.